Welcome to Andy's Garage. I'm Andy Phillips. Today I'm going to show you how to restore foggy and stained headlights. So let's go ahead and get started. You can see here what we're dealing with. I mean, this is supposed to be crystal clear. And you can see right here, this is completely foggy. Here's your turn signal here. You can barely see that. Can't even see inside to the bulb or the reflector or anything. This is completely stained, really bad shape. I'll see if I can get a little bit closer and show you what exactly we're dealing with here. And this is on the passenger side. You can see a little bit down here is still clear. You can kind of see how it's supposed to look, but you can see it right here starting up in here. It's really bad. So we're going to go ahead and restore this to a nice, beautiful, clear, crystal clear lens. In order to complete this, these are the items that you'll need. You'll need a power drill. You'll need a spray bottle filled with clear water. You'll need some masking tape, a microfiber or clean cloth. And then you're also going to need a headlight restoration kit. For this particular video, I'm using the one here by Rust-Oleum, the kind that has the drill bit attachment, so that way you can go ahead and polish and do what you need to do. But other companies make these as well. I know Meguiar's makes one. I think Mother's makes one. There's some other companies out there as well. But for this video, we're using Rust-Oleum. This is not a product review. We're just using it for this particular task to restore the headlights on the vehicle. Well, the first thing that we're going to do, step one, is we need to clean these headlights. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use some water and soap. We're going to go ahead and clean these real good, get any dirt and junk off of it. So I'm going to go ahead and clean these, and then we'll be right back. Just drying it off now. Washed it real good, got a lot of dirt and junk that came off of there. But we're going to go ahead now. And you can see, even though it did kind of clear up when we had the soap and water on it because of the moisture on it, you can see it's clouding right back up again because the damage is actually on the lens itself. It wasn't dirt or anything on there. So, there you can see it. Now that everything is dried, and as we just showed, the discoloration is coming back. Not as dirty, but the discoloration is coming back. We're going to go ahead and take some masking tape. We're going to cover all the black trim here and the body around it because you don't want to get any of the compound on there. So I'm going to go ahead and mask everything up real nice, clean it, and then we'll be back to start. All right, finishing up here on this one. We have both headlights, as you can see, completely masked. Really what you're trying to do is you want to cover any of the black molding because that can get stained, and any of the paint. Really with this vehicle here, the paint's not too big of an issue because this car is getting repainted in the near future, so all that's going to be cleaned off anyway. But for the sake of the video and so I can show you how to do it properly, that's what we're doing. So now that everything is done, we're ready to move on to the next step. All right, the next step that we're going to do is we're going to take the drill bit attachment, load it here into the drill. Get that on there. Then we're going to take the 800 pad, which on this particular series here, that's what it is. So it's an 800 and it's labeled that way. So we're going to go ahead and center it properly on here. You want it nice and centered. There we go. And this particular one here is a wet sandpaper. So we're going to go ahead and use our water bottle that we had here. We're going to go ahead and wet the lens, wet the pad, and then we're going to start applying it on there using the drill, and then go ahead and do the sanding down on the surface of the lens. Next thing I'm going to do is wipe it down get all of this off so we can take a look at it. And basically what you want to do is you want to wipe it down, clean it, look at it, and if there's any scratches or flaws still here to the surface, you want to repeat that step again with the 800 grit sandpaper. So let's see here. It's actually looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. You go ahead and wipe the other side down. And this is looking good too. But I do see a little bit of scratches still, so I'm going to repeat that step and then we'll be right back. Just finished giving it a second time around with the 800 grit, and it looks a lot better. I just checked the other side too, so both sides are done. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to now change it to the 1500 grit sandpaper. And if you're not that familiar with sandpaper, the higher the grit, the finer it is. And usually when you're dealing with the 1500s and 2000s, things like that, that's really good with if you're finishing something. Like, for example, I've refinished a lot of musical instruments in the past, electric guitars and stuff. Normally you want to be getting into the 1500 to 2000 near the end, because that's almost making it smooth as can be. And then when you polish it, it's like glass, it's flawless. So as we're moving in here, swap that out. We're going to put the 1500 on. Same thing here, you want to center it on this pad perfectly like that. This is also another wet sandpaper. So we're going to wet the lens and wet the pad just like we did with the 800. And we're going to do the same process again but with the 1500. And then we'll be back to clean it off and inspect it at that point. As with the 800 grit, once done, you're going to go ahead and wipe it down real good with a clean, wet cloth. Wash all that junk off, inspect it for any imperfections. If need be, do another round with the 1500 before you move on. Everything's wiped down and very smooth. All the imperfections have been taken out. Last thing we're going to do here before we start the polishing process, we're going to remove the 1500 and we're going to go ahead and put the 2000 grit, which is almost like a cloth. That's how tight the fibers are on this thing. But this is a wet sandpaper also. So we're going to go ahead and spray this down, do the 2000 on both. And with this one, you want to do several kind of passes over this thing. You want to get it really smooth, make sure you cover everything. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go around it, the whole surface, and we're going to do that about 4 or 5 times to really get it nice and smooth. Then we'll wipe it down and look at it before we're ready to polish it. Just finished doing multiple passes with the 2000, and you can see already here as we clean it off, beautiful. Haven't even polished it yet, and look at the difference, how crystal clear this is. I'm very excited to get this thing polished so we can look at it. So I'm going to go ahead, wipe these down clean. We're going to inspect it, make sure that there's no areas that need touching up, and then we're ready to start the polishing and wrapping it up. Everything has been wiped off and dried. So now we're ready for the fun stuff. We're going to go ahead and remove the 2000 grit pad from here, and we're going to apply the polishing pad. So go ahead and attach that on here. Next, we're going to grab the polishing compound. As mentioned at the beginning, what I am using is the Rust-Oleum headlight restoring kit. I would recommend it, even though this is not a product review. I'm really impressed with this. I would recommend it. It's only, I think it's less than $15 at Walmart. I picked it up, but there's other kits that have the similar process. So we have this on here. We're going to now take the compound And you're going to apply approximately a dime-sized drop here in the middle. And then we're going to go ahead and smear it around a little bit. Because if not, it's going to splatter everywhere once you get it started. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of spread it out onto the pad. Spread that out there like that. And now we're ready to start. And what we're going to do is we're going to just take our time, and you're going to keep working the areas until this cloudiness, even though there's not much left. The 2000 really cleaned it up beautiful. But now we're just going to keep going and just work an area until you see it void of any of the cloudiness or swirl marks, and it's all shiny. And then just take your time going around and around until we get it all covered. So let's go ahead and do that. Everything has been polished and it looks beautiful, as you can see, very shiny. Now we're going to take our microfiber cloth and we're going to just go ahead and polish it real good by hand, wiping anything off. Look at that. Wow. I'm going to get a close-up of that for you, but we're going to go ahead and polish this off real good. Remove the tape as well. Go ahead and get all that junk off. Very excited to see this thing. These headlights have been in need of restoration for years, but because of this car sitting and not really a priority right now as far as a project, it has been kind of neglected. But I'm excited in the not too distant future. We're going to be repainting this vehicle and finishing it up. We've been doing a lot of mechanical work to it, but we're going to do all the cosmetic stuff now as far as painting it, suspension, new rims, tires, all that stuff. So this is going to be, it's going to look very good. But the first step was these ugly headlights, which are looking great. So I'm going to do the other one, and then we'll be back to take a look at it and wrap it up. Just polishing up this last one here. As you can see, these turned out beautiful. This one here too, look at that. Just like new, fully restored. And what I failed to show in the video, I also did the fog lights as well. So if you have fog lights or any kind of lights on your vehicle that are getting that hazy, foggy, stained look from the weathering and all that stuff, this will work to restore it as well. So I'll get some close-ups of all this for you so you can take a look at that. All right, well, that pretty much wraps up this video on how to restore your fogged or stained headlights. I hope that this video was informative for you. I hope it helped you out. Please send me any questions or comments that you may have. I would love to hear from you. As always, I appreciate all of the support. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.